was like nobody was posting on Instagram like what they were wearing to work. And so we thought, like, let's bridge the gap and create something for a modern woman. And it caught fire. And it was
How big did this
an
business
amazing
get?
success. We were doing close to $800 million in sales annually when I shut it down, when I went into government. It was great. But
You were doing 800 million in sales annually when you
Yeah.
shut it down.
yeah.
Why did you shut it down?
I went into government, and you always have to sort of be moving forward. And I had built a team of women who were oriented towards forward momentum, and I had to put it on ice. And this was all just part of the rules of complying with the Office of Government Ethics. So they basically look at everything you have, and they say, sell this, put this into a trust, do this, do that, do this. So you do that, and for my own business, they weren't allowed to use my image. They weren't allowed to grow the business in terms of new accounts or internationally. And that was fine for a moment, but at the end of the day, you need like growth. And so I thought it would be easier to end on a high note than to allow the business to sort of stagnate. And I also felt like for myself, I'm always looking forward. Like, I don't like to look back. And I feel the experience of this new experience, I mean, serving was so expanding.
Most people wouldn't give up an $800 million annual business to go into government. Why did you?
You know, I
And it's
thought,
your baby as well, you know, it's like,
yeah, I thought about the version of me in 40 years that when asked the question to serve by my father, who at the time knew no one in Washington, D.C. at all, said no and just proceeded with life as usual. And that didn't like sit right with me. So I had no intention of serving. And a few weeks after he won, he asked Jared and me to go with him and sort of help him navigate this new environment. And my eyes grew big, and he joked with me. He's like, but I have to warn you, they're gonna come at you hard. They're probably gonna hate you. You're too young, and he like rattled it. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what? That was like the anti-sale, but you know, he asked us for help. And I feel incredibly privileged that he gave us the opportunity to serve a country we love so much. We hadn't been expecting it. We hadn't set up our lives for it. We were loving the path we were on and the work we were doing. But you also, you know, can't put your head in the sand. And like, life had changed. As much as I'd like to say, like, oh, he wins, business as usual. There is no business as usual. Your life has changed.
you didn't choose this though. In fact, you didn't choose most of these things. I look at your life and I go, from a very young age, you've not chosen the context which you've been thrust into because of your father's ambitions. And I mean, I can see it in your face that it kind of rings true.
But I think that's true for all of us, right? To some degree, like, our path is determined by our circumstance.
Not really. Not really in the same way.
This is a little bit different with politics and the presidency, but
even from 9 years old, you know, you're not choosing to leave school and have reporters treat you like that, and you're not choosing these other things along the way. And then your father decides he wants to be president of the United States. It's not like he had a political career where he like built up slowly. It's like he woke up one day and was
I
like...
was drinking water from a fire hose for all of us. It was a lot. Normally you cut your teeth on, you know, some local election as a family, have the experience. The first time he ever ran for office was president, and he won. So it was a radical adjustment period for all of us. But
did you think you'd win?
Boy, did it. Oh yeah, I did. I mean, it was hard to believe myself because everyone was saying that he wouldn't. And I'd say, well, these people probably know what they're talking about, but it felt like he would. And, you know, so for me, that time was extraordinary because I really believed, you know, I lived in New York City. I thought I was surrounded by diverse minds and opinions and perspectives and viewpoints. And I really thought I had sort of a lot of exposure to ideas. And his campaign like ripped it open for me in that I realized like the bubble that I was in. And suddenly I got out into the country and I heard from people who had very divergent views on a number of issues. Some of it reinforced my existing beliefs. Other times it completely changed my perspective and orientation. So it was extremely mind expanding. So when you ask like, oh, why didn't I go back to what I was doing? I think like, you get thrown into something and you learn and you grow and you change. And I felt as challenging it was as that moment in my life to say yes when my father asked us to go help him. I felt like it was an amazing privilege to be able to serve. So.
New Year always has a strange energy to it because people start talking about their goals, fresh starts, and new habits. But the reality is that most people carry the same ideas they had last year into the new year. I'm guilty of that too. And they still don't end up doing anything with them. And I get why. Starting something new, especially if it's a business or a project, is overwhelming. Before you start, you're looking for the perfect moment and to be the perfect version of yourself, when really what matters most is taking that first step. If you had an idea for a while, a product, a store, something you've been sitting on, our sponsor Shopify makes it easy to get started because you can build your store, sell on socials, take payments, use AI tools, and manage everything all in one place. So if 2026 is the year you finally back yourself, go to shopify.co.uk/Bartlett and start selling. And you can sign up for a $1 per month trial right now too. Just go to shopify.co.uk/Bartlett. I promise you, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. I run multiple companies that have multiple sales teams. And one of the things as a founder of a company that's often confusing is you find it hard to figure out where sales are. So about 10 years ago, I started using Pipedrive in my former company. And it's also the reason why I switched over all of my commercial teams in my current media company called Steven.com to use Pipedrive as well. Not only do they sponsor the show, but they've been an incredibly effective way of scaling our sales engine over the years. Pipedrive is an easy to use intelligent CRM. And at its very core, it makes your sales process visible through one dashboard, a visual pipeline showing every deal, what stage it's in, what needs to happen next, and it's all in real time with no delay. It doesn't magically close the deal for you, of course, but it does replace complexity with clarity.